everybody, this is the Wikstrand. So I wouldn't call myself an expert when it comes to Japanese animation. Most, if not all movies I've seen is somewhat Studio Ghibli related. Either, Miyazaki has directed it or his studio has produced it. Now, I had of course heard about Your Name before I saw it, but I didn't have any high expectations on it or anything like that. I just thought, let's take a look at it, shall we, and see how good it is. My expectations were absolutely blown out of the water. My socks blew out of my ears. This movie is fucking great. But what is it about? That's what we're gonna find out today. This is my review of Your Name. Mitsuha isn't very happy with how her life is going at the moment. She lives in this very quaint and cozy little Japanese village where nothing really happens, and you think life is kind of boring, and she feels that she's kind of stuck here. And she wants to, move to Tokyo and become a cool big city kid. And also she misses her mom, who has passed away, sometime earlier, and she doesn't get that much attention from her dad, who's going to run for mayor of this little town once again. But one day she goes to bed and she wakes up in a different body. The body belongs to Taki. Taki is a high school kid from Tokyo, and he has also, taken over her body. They have swapped bodies, and there is a lot of confusion. How the hell did this happen? And what is our connection? Why is this happening? And to make matters even more complicated is the fact that she doesn't know anything about his life and his routines and what he, usually do, and vice versa. And they don't have the other person's skills or traits or stuff like that. And there is a lot of confusion because, they don't act like, they usually do. And they have to write notes to each other whenever this is happening, so they know, what to do. You have to go to this place, and you have to do this and that. And will they learn something from each other? Will she appreciate the quiet life in this small little city, and will he learn to become more in touch with his more feminine side, so he can court the colleague of his that he has always wanting to date and stuff like that. And we also have this meteor shower that is going to cross over Japan, and she's very excited being able to see this wonderful spectacle that is gonna pass over the country. But this movie is not a wacky comedy about, body swapping and, misunderstandings and things like that. This is a very, very emotional and existential movie, because there is something that is, brewing in the background that is, shown in plain sight, but because we don't see it at first, you will see it if you rewatch it. Matter of fact, I think that the best way to experience this movie is actually to see this movie with somebody who has actually already seen it, who can fill in the blanks and stuff like that, because after a while they drop an absolute bombshell on this movie which makes you go, what? And then this movie becomes a totally different beast. It becomes an incredibly smart, very complicated and very complex story. I won't spoil it or anything like that, but when, that sequence happened, I was like, say what? And from that point, this movie just goes into so many fantastic directions, and there is so much creativity in this movie. And I just thought this movie was so amazingly great. The characters are so well written, and they're so fantastically three-dimensional and so complex. And the only real problem I have with this movie, apart from the fact that I didn't think that the ending was the best thing in the entire movie, it was good, but I think it could have been better, especially considering what we had, built up to over the course of the movie. The fact is that sometimes the movie moves too fast for its own good, and it leaves you sort of behind, that it is maybe too complicated in some sequences, that you're kind of, what's happening here? You're rushing in this movie. And also, do this movie really needed to be an animated movie, considering that It's so photorealistic, and the animation is so impressive that you almost don't need to make this an animated movie. This could have been live action. There is a few sequences that I think maybe could have been too complicated to make a good live action out of, but the rest of it could have been an excellent live action. But I'm not going to second guess why that was the case. Let's talk for a second, by the way, about the animation, because the animation in this movie is absolutely spellbindingly good. I think that this is the second most gorgeous animated movie that I've ever seen in my entire life. The Wind Rises is still the most beautiful animated movie that I've ever seen in my entire life, but this one is a pretty damn close second. It's a bit of a different, animation style than what Miyazaki does. It has a weird glow to itself that I really like, and the photorealism, as I said, almost make this movie so gorgeously animated that you forget that it is an animated movie. I don't know how good the voice actors are, because Japanese is not a language that I'm very accustomed to, but I will say this: I was very engaged, especially in the third act, when they just ramp up things and everything just goes into absolute overdrive when it comes to the creativity and the complexity of the story. And as I said, maybe it is a little bit too short for its own good, but they're able to cram in a whole litany of things in this movie. If you've never seen Your Name, I love this movie, and I think you should definitely see it. It's not as good as the best Miyazaki movies, but god damn it, I want to see more things from this director. I want to seek out more movies he has done. Suggestions, anybody? So I think that if you've never seen this movie, do go and see it, because it is an experience that you will not forget anytime soon. The movie was very clever, had a very good pace and an amazing attention to details. My god, this movie rocked. This is a fantastic movie with a good ending. If this movie would have been a fantastic movie with a fantastic ending, I think this could have been maybe the single greatest animated movie that I've ever seen in my entire life. But now, because the ending is not as good as I think that it could have been, and because the movie is, as I said, a little bit rushed and is not allowed to have the runtime that it should have had, I'm going to have to give this movie 88 points. This is a damn near perfect animated movie, and as I said, if you've never seen this movie, do see it. This movie is great. So I'll see you next time for, well, so-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.